Welcome to the show. Welcome to Your Thought Life podcast. I am your host, Michael Anderson. Today, we're talking about building higher self confidence. And as we prepare to sort of unpack this topic, I want you to understand that whether or not you're an entrepreneur, someone who is seeking to advance their career, or perhaps an individual who has gone through some stuff that has impacted your self confidence, I want you to know right out of the gates that we've got some information for you today that's going to radically help your disposition. I most certainly can relate because I had to go through this exact same process numerous years ago. And what I found is that self confidence isn't just a nice to have, it's a foundational component of every one of your decisions, every one of your breakthroughs, and your next level, the best version of you. And without it, you simply won't be able to obtain it. So we're going to tear that down right now, because if we're being honest, most of us, a lot of us, either struggle or know people who struggle with self confidence. And the idea of having to always second guess your abilities, to second guess whether or not you're fit for the task, the hesitation when an opportunity arises, or worse, comparing yourselves with others. This is the classic setup for long-term issues with self-confidence. So let's jump into this with some psychology. We always like to ground all of our talks in science so that you know that the information by which we make recommendations and assist with providing definition, underlying root causes, etc., are all coming out of a discipline that has 90 plus years of research across the globe. And you should know that confidence is deeply connected to how you interpret your experiences. According to Dr. Albert Berdura, research on self-efficacy suggests that confidence grows when we believe in our ability to influence outcomes. In other words, it's not about being perfect. It's about trusting that you can handle whatever is going to come up. That requires confidence. Neuroscience backs this up in so much as we have conclusive evidence that your brain is constantly rewiring based on what you tell it. The very talks that we're having on the inside, the dialogue that's taking place when the self-confident issues arise as a result of some external circumstance, is creating for us a new set of neurological pathways and, unfortunately, compounding the self-confidence issue we already have more often than we would like to see. But here's the deal. The more often you act with confidence, even when you don't feel like it, the more those neurological pathways are strengthened. That's the magic of neuroplasticity. We can turn this around in the same way that we learned how to have self-confidence issues. We can also reprogram or relearn how to be confident. And with that introduction, let's start to unpack specifically some of the things that you can add to your toolkit to help you turn this self-confidence situation around so that we can build into you that which you need to go and achieve what it is you desire to achieve. Number one, rewire your self-talk. We just made mention of this. And this is a critical element because the way you talk to yourself and the way that you interact with yourself, your entire being is recording. This is a chemical set of circumstances that we're dealing with that can very readily be remembered for good or for bad. Inner dialogue, as I've mentioned, is like a foundational element for your self-confidence. Those internal dialogues and monologues that are filled with doubt and criticism it's those that we need to begin to speak to very differently. When they come up, we're not accepting that what they are saying is truthful. We're not. Instead, we're going to begin to put in place affirmations. And affirmations are simply statements that say specifically how you are in your better version. As an example, some of the negative inner chatter might suggest that you're not capable of doing this specific task. You're going to rewire your self thinking through reframing by using an affirmation like this: I've overcome challenges before, and I know that I'm capable of doing it again. Each time they arise, I will rise to the occasion. And you have this type of rewiring taking place over a period of time. Generally, it's about 30 days for females, and for men, somewhere between 45 and 60. You're able to then begin doing life radically different just as a result of changing how this self-talk conversation is taking place. And I should also mention that it's very important for you to be your best friend. If you haven't begun practicing that, you need to feather this in and layer this into this strategy for building your self-confidence. Number two is, when you have a win, it's time for you to really start to account for that win. And it doesn't matter to the degree to which it was a win, small, medium, or large, or even micro wins. All of these have a very critical element in that they create momentum toward the shift. Remember, sometimes we're not feeling a high degree of self-confidence. It is our goal to secure and build a high self-esteem, and to do these micro wins and recognizing each of them and allowing them to be the springboard for the next set of wins is crucial. Every time you follow through on a goal, celebrate. You did something and it was a little bit outside of your comfort zone and you didn't do it absolutely right, but you did it anyway. That's a celebration moment. We'll come back and deal with the piece that didn't go quite right in our analysis or our after action review of the day for that specific event. Yet it is still a win. And each of these wins is a trust building exercise in yourself, right? And if you know that you can build trust, then you know that there's a direct correlation between trust and confidence. You can't get to confidence without passing through trust. And according to behavioral psychology, celebrating these wins releases dopamine, which reinforces positive behavior. That's that feel good hormone, right? And as you begin to celebrate and this release takes place, that is a chemical compound which your body can readily recall the next time you have a similar win. It goes, oh, we need to release some dopamine again because we've had a win. And if you know that after a series of wins have taken place, that issue that made you feel less confident will suddenly be gone. And that is one of the benefits of celebrating the wins, even if they're in a micro format. Number three is, we have to adopt a growth identity. Our identity is noted how we feel about us and what we think we are capable of, and what we think we're capable of or not is equally important as the other two elements that we have covered heretofore. Confidence doesn't come from being the best. It comes from being a learner. If you are to adopt a growth identity, that says that you believe you can change. Now you're in alignment with neuroplasticity rather than if you today have a fixed mindset that suggests that, hey, I've got these cards, nothing can be done about these cards that I've been dealt. I am this way from an identity standpoint, and I'm always going to be this way. Then I need you to shift out of the fixed mindset identity into the growth mindset because there is absolutely no reason for anyone to remain in a fixed, knowing that we have science on our side suggesting that we can change whenever we are ready. So embrace growth and remind yourself, I'm a person who learns quickly. This is another affirmation. And then say, I figure things out all the time. Again, we're working on building trust. Trust is the gateway to self-confidence. So the more you begin to experience life and you say to yourself, hey, I can learn this. I can pick this up. I can get this skill set. I'll figure it out one way or another. Now you're on the right track. Now you're in the process of doing life from a position of a growth identity rather than a fixed identity. And then finally, this is certainly what we would consider a stretch goal. And this involves readjusting what we feel is comfortable or uncomfortable. I'm going to ask you to act before you feel ready. Act before you feel ready. All of the people that, not all of the people, a good portion of the people that I know that are uber successful, ultra successful, very high achievers and earners, they have a pattern of doing this, acting before they are ready. The idea here is there's no set of perfect conditions. The perfect set of conditions exists when you decide to take action and begin to execute. So take action in the face of uncertainty. If you're like me and you're a planner and you like to have your plans buttoned up, you're not striving anymore for 100% clarity. You're striving for 70 to 80% clarity because we need to act quickly so that we can very quickly experience that other 20 or 30% that we don't understand, don't know, didn't plan for, or need whatever we experience that needs to be tweaked. And the beauty of this is acting before you're ready provides for you a good degree of momentum in and of itself. And the universe is very kind to the people who will launch out in the deep 70 or 80% of the data, knowing that they're going to have to make up or experience some portion of that act, that deed, that task, that goal without all of the data. And because they acted in faith and launched out in the deep, the situation is going to present itself where they need that information will become available. So, big idea here is take the leap, then build your wings along the way. And that's how real growth happens, family. There's no way out of this. If you are to really build high self-confidence, you're going to have to rewire your self-talk. You're going to have to stack your small wins, even if they're micro. We're going to ask that you adopt a growth identity and act before you're ready. Self-confidence isn't about arrogance or perfection. Neither of those matter. It's more seated in self-trust and consistent action. This is the setup for mindset mastery. Every time you speak kindly to yourself, follow through on a promise, keep your word, take a brave step, you are building trust. That trust is the gateway to confidence. So here's your homework. Pick one of today's strategies and apply it this week. And be on the lookout for internal dialogue and how you're able to shift and ebb and flow as a result of utilizing one of these principles. And then watch how you're able to show up in the world so much differently. You're going to be really happy that you did this. Thank you for joining me today for this episode. I want to ask that you consider leaving us a rating or review. It really helps the channel to grow. We're in over 170 countries now. We have you to thank for that. Feel free to connect with us through Linktree. The link is available in the show notes. I like to remind you that you are enough. You can do it. You are uniquely equipped to realize your goals. Until next time, take care and keep building your self-confidence.